Thanks for coming, by the way. And my goal, honestly, is to get people to not leave halfway through this. I want it to be engaging enough. Bob and Liz and I want this to be engaging enough that no one's tempted to leave halfway through or start looking at their emails, and also interesting and motivating enough that it makes you want to change some of your technology habits by the end of it. And I promise, it's not going to be death by PowerPoint or something like that. We'll try to make it engaging. I'm going to really work hard to make it interesting. I'm like over-caffeinated, and this should be fun. I'm really excited for it. So that's the deal. This is Liz. She's the CMO of Wahlburgers. And this is Bob. He's the president of the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. And my name's Andy. I'm the VP of Marketing for Buyer's Edge Platform. Raise your hand if you ever heard of Wahlburgers or tried one.
Thank you.
Good. They're good. There's not one too close to me, but when I'm in Logan Airport, it's my go-to.
Great.
And has anyone tried Great Greek? I actually haven't had the pleasure of trying it. Mark, what do you like at Great? So a lot of people need to try this. Very authentic. Would you agree with that?
Do tell us more.
Do you have tara masalata?
We do.
I love tara masalata. Anyone ever here know what tara masalata is?
Masaki.
Yeah.
Nobody? Tara masalata is a fish roe like dip, like a yogurt. It's got yogurt, maybe like some kind of like mayonnaise, and it's just absolutely delicious. It's like it's a sleeper on the menu. Everybody gets the
Stick with the tzatziki and the hummus.
Tzatziki, yeah, okay. You don't like the tara masalata?
I like the grilled chicken.
Okay, grilled chicken. Something for everyone at Great Greek. And raise your hand if you know about Buyer's Edge Platform or Consolidated Concepts. Anybody know what that is? Okay, if you all have questions about what that is, we'll get to it a little bit later, or you can ask me or any of the people lined up against the back wall. They're just itching to talk to you about it. So thanks so much for coming to check out Prompt Like a Pro. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I run the marketing department at Buyer's Edge Platform. I'm based on the East Coast, and I'm out here for a week doing two things. First is this presentation, which a lot of people find very, very stressful, speaking in front of people. It's a fear. It causes anxiety. Were you nervous a little bit today?
Well, you told me nobody was going to show up, and we got a full room, and I could see some of my friends here who I believe think I know nothing about this.
Usually it would just be a fireside chat.
Yeah, fireside chat. I love doing this kind of...
Is that the buzzword?
Yeah.
There's no fire.
There's no, yeah, we're chatting. I do love doing this, but it is nerve-wracking. It's anxiety-producing. And then I'm sticking around. I have some meetings in northern Arizona, and then I'm going up to Vegas. And then I'm going to go on like a really big multi-pitch rock climbing trip, which I'm terrified of. I'm completely scared. Like, I want to show this because I want people to think I'm cool. But besides that, I want you to know that I've been laying in bed terrified of going to do this for months since I planned it. And the reason why I'm telling you all that is because I think it's good to be a little bit vulnerable. Come here, there's seats. They want us to do the church thing. Come in, there's seats all over. There's 3 in the front. There's some in the back. Come in, please. So nice to have you.
Meet a new neighbor, a new friend.
Yeah,
right?
meet a friend. Come on, there's 2 seats right here. There's butts and there's seats.
That's my fan club right here.
Oh, that's your fan club?
And there.
Hi, welcome.
Bob, where's yours? No.
So anyway, we can be a little bit vulnerable about our fears. We can share with each other that there's things we don't know about, that there's things we want to learn more about, there's obstacles to overcome. I hope that by sharing that I'm terrified, mildly terrified to do this, super terrified to do that later this week, it might make other people feel like, hey, maybe I can be vulnerable and share something in this session too, and reveal what I know or don't know about ChatGPT or the world or my own concept or whatever it is.
I feel like I'm in group therapy.
It is, it's a little bit like that. We had to get it out.
Okay.
So, okay, let's take a quick poll also. Are people in this room, raise your hand, like, are you using ChatGPT regularly? Can you raise your hand if you feel like you're using it regularly? Can you, all right, that's cool, maybe half. Can you raise your hand if you've never actually checked it out because you don't know how or where to start? Only 1, 2, okay. And then so the rest, maybe raise your hand if you're like kind of using it every now and then, but you don't really know how to make it part of your day-to-day. Okay, cool. So first, to set the stage, I think it's clear that AI is changing everything. I found this data about how long it took different technology properties to get to 100 million users. It took mobile 16 years to get to 100 million users. Hard to believe now. There's billions of users. It took Instagram 2.5 years to get to 100 million users. So you can see a much faster adoption cycle there. ChatGPT, it took 2 months to get 100 million people. Jesus is right. We said it's like church, right? meet your new God. So that's her. That's her. Face of an angel, barely even human. So the super fast adoption, okay? And so it really is everywhere, and it's changing everything. One of the things I want to highlight by the end of this is that I really, truly believe that ChatGPT is going to change the way we work, much like mobile has, much like social did, much like email did. We're going to get there, and it's better to be on the front side of it. So many people are so scared that ChatGPT is going to take their job. Liz and I work in marketing. We may well be screwed. Okay.
Thanks. I really appreciate that confidence.
Yeah. The marketing power of ChatGPT is unbelievable. For those of you, someone here is like the CIO of Hooters. Someone here started a really cool, healthy kind of grilled vegetable concept. I don't think ChatGPT is going to take that job away from you, but the idea is that people who use AI are going to replace people who don't. When ChatGPT came out, it was right around the time that I turned 40, and I started to realize that I was like one of the older guys in the office. I wasn't getting invited to the cool outings and stuff like that anymore.
That's right.
And, with all due respect, like everyone's age, there's these people in our office that we roll our eyes at because they like print out their emails or they make me print their PowerPoints for them or something like that. And I was like worried that the 20-somethings on my own team were going to start rolling their eyes at me soon about the things that I couldn't do or what I was printing out. And so when ChatGPT came out, I said to myself, I am going to make a commitment to use this every day. Once a day, I'm going to try to use this tool because I don't want to get squeezed out by being uncomfortable with it or not knowing what to do or how to use it. And so I really started using it once a day, sometimes for personal things, oftentimes for professional things. And just like we kind of had to massage out, when should we use email? When should we use a phone call? When should we use Teams? When should we use email even? Something like that. I think that I'm starting to tease out, like, when should I go to ChatGPT? When should I do this on my own? Have you had a similar experience at all? Or what made you decide to adopt it from the start?
That's a good question. So obviously a lot of the press that it's getting, and I was pretty much kept it at an arm's length. Our CEO of our company, we have 12 brands, got all the presidents together and said, you guys need to start adapting it. We had experts come in and showing us, different aspects of it and how it could help us. So I use it anywhere from helping me be more productive, organize my thoughts, ideas, for the brand, menu items, places to grow. This morning I Googled, I have blue slacks. What should I wear with my blue slacks? And it told me brown shoes.
Matching blue jacket?
Blue jacket and white shirt. And I said, and someone commented me, I think it was Luis, said I look very, very good. And now I noticed he put a white shirt on.
Is that a true story? You asking for fashion advice?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. And you looking very fashionable today.
Well, thank you. I did not.
Okay.
But I did similar articles, seeing them come through with a company I previously worked for. My designer started using it. He was in his 20s. I felt threatened like you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get squeezed out. I need to adapt this. I looked at it, kind of put it to his side, and then a month later, we were doing a guest survey, and my VP of Ops was trying to understand all the responses we got, and he put it through ChatGPT to understand it. That really opened my eyes. I use it for everything. I probably use it 2 to 3 hours a day.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last time, if anyone's in the back wants a seat, there are a couple around. You can come get
Raise
them.
the hands if you have an open seat by you. Don't be shy.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of open seats. So if you want to sit, come take a load off.
Come meet someone new.
Welcome. Okay, so what I found in playing around with ChatGPT is that it definitely accelerates my work processes. I find it to be oftentimes a really good starting point, okay? One of the first examples that I really started to see, like, I'm going to use this a lot, was if I had maybe a piece of content to write. Let's say I wanted to, this is a real example, one of the first times I used it, I was writing a piece of content about how lettuce prices, it was a blog that one of my content people assigned to me to write, about how lettuce prices have affected different types of concepts over the last however many years. What I would normally do is I would outline that, and then I would go start researching, reading a bunch of different articles about the lettuce commodity and stuff like that. I asked ChatGPT to like write me an outline and bring me some research on lettuce prices over the past 5 years. And I probably would have spent at least an hour doing the outline and the research, and I had an outline and research points right away come back to me. Of the outline, I probably kept like 70% of it. The research, I then went and started verifying it, and it gave me good ideas of where to go look for other kind of similar types of data and stuff like that. But definitely from that one task, maybe that was a 2 to 2.5 hour task, I would say ChatGPT let me get the whole thing, the article done in 40 to 45 minutes or something.
Is your boss here right now? Does he know? No, I'm kidding.
I'm the boss of that situation, and I approve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And believe me, my boss doesn't want me spending time writing articles on for
nobody
blogs.
does. I was just kidding.
Yeah, it's okay. So that's kind of, but then I realized also that I was getting a little bit confused about, is this Google? I kind of was like asking myself that question, like, because I would go to Google and I would start looking up lettuce, I would have gone lettuce prices, I would have found this report or that report. Maybe it was behind a paywall, maybe I had to download it, maybe there was some blog that didn't seem quite reputable or something like that I was finding. And I was saying like, well, wait a minute, normally I would go do this on Google. I think it's important to understand the difference between search and generative, okay? And so I did a little bit of research and I tried to come up with my own way of explaining this. Did you have a comment before I went on, or?
I was just looking at.
No.
Okay, cool.
Your
I read this earlier.
I was just wondering if you ChatGPT that.
Yeah.
Is that how you come up with it?
No.
Did you
No, I
chat
didn't.
GPT this?
I wrote this.
Okay.
Yeah. This actually, interestingly, this slide came out of me having a conversation with a friend of mine who works for a CRM who uses ChatGPT, working at Salesforce. And he and I kind of came up with this. Google is like a librarian, and ChatGPT is like a friend that you invite into your office to have a conversation with you. And so, like, I think that if you want to go find a fact, Google's a really great place to do that. But if you want to maybe like do a writing session, do a brainstorming session, have like a helpful assistant, it's almost like the way you might, if I had an assistant, I might say like, hey, later today I need to write an article about lettuce prices. Can you go bring me some 10 pieces of research or 10 facts that I might be able to use in that blog? I might ask my assistant to do that. Instead, I asked my AI assistant to do that. Yeah. And so ChatGPT like can certainly return facts to you, but I don't find it as an effective replacement for Google in that way, because sometimes I just want like the hard facts, right. and I don't want it couched in all of this other information that it gives me. Google, I still think it's the master of internet retrieval, and Google has indexed billions of websites, and most importantly, it's up to date with the most recent information. Whatever happened 10 minutes ago is on Google right now. It's not on ChatGPT. That's an important thing to understand. ChatGPT, if you're using 3.5, or I've upgraded now to 4, it's only current as of like November 2023, or don't quote me on that.
Really?
Someone can ask
know
Google on
that.
their phones.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to, I don't know, read about how OJ died, ChatGPT is not going to help you with that. In fact, it might even hallucinate and make it up for you.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
do you want to test it?
we can. But the point is, it's like it's not up to date on the latest episode, the latest game, whatever happened in politics most recently, the latest polling, or even what's happened in lettuce prices so far in 2014. It's not there. So you still need Google to go for any kind of up-to-date stuff. And the other thing about it is that it's query-based. I don't know who here has ever watched my dad Google something, but he likes to type like full complete sentences, sometimes even with nice polite words in it. Like, you know, and while he's typing like, what was the score in the Giants versus Pittsburgh Steelers game? The answer's already there, but he's still typing.
Is it like the commercial, not to be your parents?
Right, it's something like that.
Like, yeah.
Or he goes like, hey Siri. And then he starts talking. What was the score in last night's Giants game? That was at 4:05 p.m. And then, whereas all I have to do is type in Giants on Google, and the answer already comes up, and he doesn't recognize that. However, and I'll get to this a little bit more, but so just a few keywords make a search. Whereas ChatGPT can understand a full and complete sentence with logic to it. And that's another really big differentiator, because if you want to Google, like we've all done it probably, Google it for some very specific phrase of research that we want to find, like how do beef prices change in the spring? And it might start, it's just too many words. It might start returning too many things.
Right.
But ChatGPT can do that and can understand the logic behind that. So, you know, similarly, you know, Google returns, and this is really important to understand, at a most basic level. Google returns information that has already been published somewhere on the internet, okay? ChatGPT returns information that has not yet been written before anywhere. So that's a much bigger difference. It's creating information for you. So that's why we said it's like a librarian. The information has to be somewhere in the stacks. The librarian can then go get you that book or get you that piece of information. ChatGPT can write you a new book. Any questions about that? Anyone, Mark, is your mind blown? Is anybody surprised to learn that, or is that like common knowledge? I don't know. Okay.
I'm surprised to hear it was 2023, that the last time with ChatGPT.
I think it's sometime like Q3 or Q4 in 2023.
I asked if how OJ died, and it said that as my last update, OJ Simpson is still alive.
Perfect. Okay, so it returned a fact. That's good. It returned a fact.
You should have asked, how will he die?
So, yes.
You brought up hallucination, but
Yeah.
you weren't kidding about that.
No, I wasn't kidding. That's
You hear the commercials, not hallucination.
right. It's a real term. This is a very mild case of that, but I'll share a quick story, which is that one day when I was doing my daily ChatGPT, I was writing a little poem for my son in his birthday card.
Aww.
And I said, I'd already written it, but then I asked ChatGPT, like, how would you do it? And I said, like, I'll get to my prompting style later, but I said, like, you're a father who wants to write a poem for his son. It's his 8th birthday. He loves Legos, he loves soccer, and he loves, I don't remember what else I put in there, ninjas or something. And then it wrote this whole poem. It was really, it was like, you kick the ball and build with your bricks, and you will do all this stuff with ninja sticks, whatever it was. And then at the end it said, and it was long and it was really cute. It would have worked. And it said, so keep playing your soccer and building the creations in your head. I love you so much, my dear son, Fred. Like, his name's not Fred. I never told you that. It's not even close to what his name is. That was like a mild hallucination.
Okay.
It just, and it's a good illustration, because the way ChatGPT kind of does what it does is that it's trained to return, like, it anticipates what's the next most likely word that would appear in this sentence. So if we were all presenting at my son's school, we could probably do that thing with the book where we say, like, the cat put on its
Hat?
right? So we all are able to do that, like, to predict the next word in that sentence. And so what ChatGPT does, whether it's something basic, like, I don't know, if we're telling a very basic story or returning a basic answer, or it could be a deeply scientific question, like it understands every topic. Or even writing code, it can do that, and it returns what it thinks the next most likely word. It did that Dr. Seuss trick for my son Elliot, and just said, well, it rhymes with head, so let's name him Fred. And so it says, well, I'm going to go to ChatGPT in a minute, but it says on there, ChatGPT makes mistakes, please, like, check this. And I told my content team, listen, I want you using ChatGPT to write content for our brands. If I catch you putting something directly from ChatGPT on a blog, I'm going to have a serious conversation with you. because that is not allowed. There are mistakes all throughout this. There's writing that just seems completely unnatural. It can get way overwrought. It needs to be checked. So I don't want, what the thing is, and that's why I said it's a starting point.
Yeah.
It's not completing my tasks for me, it's really helping me start them. But I still think of myself as the writer if I'm sending some piece of written content that I got from ChatGPT.
Do you do it that same way? Do you feel like you're still the writer?
I use it more for, I would say, productivity than creativity, right? So
Okay.
maybe as a marketing person, you're looking more for creativity. For me, it's more productivity. So, I get a lot of requests. I have to communicate. I usually take the things I have to write and put it to the side, to the end of the day, to the evening, to the weekend, to whenever it happens. So those types of things makes me a heck of a lot more productive.
Yes.
In writing certain things. One of the things I really love to do, I'll give you an example. We're trying to level up our training program. So I like to always ask ChatGPT for best practices. Mm-hmm. That's my thing. That's my go-to. What are the best practices to get blank kind of outcome for a training program? So more specific. So it will list like 8, 10 things. And this is what I love most about using this, is that I can then say, okay, can you narrow that down to the 3 most important key issues? And it will start taking that. So to me, those are the powerful things. Has anyone asked someone to send them an assessment on something? They sent you a 5-page assessment of a situation or an email. And I'm like, okay, I don't really have the time to read this. I'll put it to the side after. So there's another opportunity. For me, this old saying, how did you find the time to write a 5-page letter?
Right.
It's because I didn't have time to write a 1-page letter.
Right.
So if you use ChatGPT in the right way, you can really narrow down your communication to key points. For me, that's a lifesaver. And then it helps me be more effective on the key points, taking things to 1 page instead of 5 page. Because I was that guy who sent you a 5-page assessment.
I have a little example of that right here. So I did this as like a dry run with one of my team members. And at this point in the presentation, he said, wait a minute. You didn't do anything to say what is Consolidated Concepts, like the brand that's sponsoring this talk. So I said, all right, let's put that right into the presentation right here. So I said, summarize Consolidated Concepts for the RLC conference audience in less than 100 words. And it started writing, Consolidated Concepts, now part of Buyer's Edge, a key player in restaurant procurement, I was bored. So I was like, that's too boring and wordy already. So I just wrote, make that half the length. So it said, Consolidated Concepts, now part of Buyer's Edge platform, optimizes restaurant procurement with cost-effective solutions, streamlining purchasing and vendor management for enhanced cooperational efficiency. Okay, it was a little heavy. That's not exactly English that's easy to follow. Then I was thinking of my son's poem. I said, make it rhyme. And it said, Consolidated Concepts in Buyer's Edge Sync optimizes restaurants with costs that shrink. Purchasing streamlined, vendors in check, efficiency boosted, profits connect. I'm like,
That's good.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
I like
and I
that.
wrote it. Yeah.
It's a jingle.
So, right, exactly. If there's any aspiring rappers, it's yours. Go for it. You have a question? Oh, sorry. Okay, so, all right. Now, before we get into some specific examples, which I think is going to be fun, we're going to open ChatGPT and play with it. Hooters, you like it? You're laughing? What do you like?
I just the rhyming and the way that you went through logically in terms of producing.
Right, yeah. Thank you. And so, okay, prompt like a pro. I think that there are some ways, some best practices, I wonder what ChatGPT would say, to really get good responses out of ChatGPT. And let me show you a couple guidelines that I've landed on. 1, I really like to give ChatGPT a context, a role it should play. So instead of just saying, write a birthday poem, I said, you are a father who wants to write a birthday poem. I think it's different if you, I used it once to say, you're a father who wants to explain gravity to a 4-year-old. How would you do this? I think it's different to say you're a father who wants to explain gravity to a 4-year-old versus you're a teacher who wants to explain gravity to a 4-year-old. Or you're the host of a kid's science
Birthday
show.
party, right, yeah.
Those are different things. So I think it's good to give it a role to play. You are the CIO of Hooters, or whatever it is, right? Is that what you are? Okay, give it a task. Provide it with exactly what you're looking for and include a writing style. Your task is to write content in email with informative, friendly way while incorporating humor and real life examples. Give it a writing style. It loves that and it will return what you want from it. Then give it specificity. Give it the information it needs, a series of topics to add. So you might say, write a training program that includes, food safety,
Steps of
DE&I
service.
training, and yes,
Steps of service.
steps to service. And then refine and iterate. I think that like the first prompt, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'll get. Then I start refining it. Ask it to rewrite it. Make it shorter, make it more expressive, make it more poetic. Feel free to use adjectives. Make it a bullet list. Make it in the style of a TED Talk, whatever it might be that you're going for. And then I think it's good to use complete sentences and have a conversation. I think that I'm reminded of that. There was that movie Her that I liked where he was like falling in love with the AI,
yeah.
and then he would say to it like play Rihanna, and then she made fun. She's like, play Rihanna. Like when I say, can you please put on Rihanna? It seems weird, but you can talk to this like it's your friend in the room. Can you please help me with this?
I say thank you a lot when I
thank
write it. I
ChatGPT?
do all the time.
Well, you're a better human than I.
I mean, and to your style too, like I was writing, don't share this with anyone, but writing my boss's bio for tomorrow's presentation. And I went through a couple. I first said the setting. I didn't say the role, but I said the setting, like, hey, it's for a restaurant leadership conference. Right. He's a CEO. And I kind of summarized it and said, could you make this sound snappy or sound professional for this environment? Right. And then it was very like over the top. I'm like, okay, please make it sound a little bit more humble. Yeah. Then they kept on using the word humble. And I'm like, please don't use the word humble. And, on the fifth try, it was great. Hysterical. To your point, it took, instead of taking me 45 minutes to an hour, it took me 15 minutes, send it to my boss. He's like, you're really good at this. I'm like, yeah, I didn't tell him.
I do also find sometimes when I do that, it can get a little overwrought. Yeah. So sometimes I start from scratch after I've kind of refined what it is I want to ask for. Because it will keep the refinement, you can kind of see how it pens itself in a little bit. Right. So sometimes I will start from scratch with it too. So here's an example. You're a chief operating officer for an international chicken franchise. You need to create an email for franchisees that addresses their concern about the rising cost of chicken breast. The content should explain how franchisees will need to closely manage their food costs, et cetera, et cetera. We could drop this into ChatGPT. Are you interested in seeing what this prompt returns? Or do you want to maybe play with some other prompts?
Ask your audience.
Anybody want to see this one or move on to something maybe a little more custom?
Does anyone have a task they need to get that they could
you have a
use
hand?
help?
Please.
I think that's good because I have the same issue that you did. Get in there, it's very formal. I say, make it more casual, like, hey man.
Hey man.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got.
Because it would be interesting to see how they write it.
Yeah, comes out.
Oh, this is live on my laptop right now, guys. I'm living on the edge.
Is this in real time?
Yeah,
Is it
we
real
don't know
time?
what's going to pop up. So it says, dear valued franchise partners, we're writing to address the significant concerns you have expressed regarding the current surge in the cost of chicken breast. This trend is not just a reflection of the challenges faced by our industry, et cetera, et cetera. Moreover, we recommend revisiting pricing strategies. Let's see. Consider special promotions. Let's carefully monitor our inventory levels. Training your staff to be more efficient in the kitchen. Reducing portion sizes. What's that?
More concise.
More concise. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's give it a prompt and say.
Less
say,
formal.
Please
It's a
make
little-
this.
yeah.
I think it should be formal though. No, it's a memo about chicken
I
prices.
talk to franchisees all the time. I mean, Mike, come on, jump in with me.
Okay. Please make this more concise, less formal, and let's give it something else like. And we don't want the franchisees to reduce portions.
Yes,
You said?
yes.
To reduce portions.
Who are you with? Oh, lovely. Yeah.
The Italian kitchen woman says, no reducing portions. Yeah. Come on.
If you live in LA, you need to go to your spot.
And make it rhyme.
Hey, you want it to rhyme? Let's just
No,
say
I'm
next.
joking.
Yes, come on. Wrap it. You want it for a wrap. I want humor.
I love
Hey
that.
team. I like Hey Team.
Yeah. Hey team. Okay. So you got maybe roll out a new Thigh Thursday special. Who
I
here
like
wants to come to
that.
for Thigh Thursday?
Yes, there we go.
Now at Hooters.
Where's the Hooters guy? I think he's taking a picture of this right now. He wants this.
That's not my one and only joke about that. No one likes hiking up prices, but if it makes sense for your location, a slight tweak might be necessary. I like that language. We're not touching portion sizes. Our
Yep.
customers love them, and so do we.
Yep.
Got some dishes that use less chicken breast? Highlight them. That's pretty smart. And get your kitchen team up on speed to make the most out of every piece of chicken. Zero waste is the goal. Hang tight because our supply chain squad is on it. I would probably take that out. Supply chain squad. Feel like it's trying a little hard.
Team, I would probably say team. Yeah,
They're
what is
working
it,
overtime
reaching?
to lock down a contract that'll ease up these costs. We're aiming to make this just a bump in the road. Remember, we're in this together. That smacks of COVID. And we're here to support you. Questions, comments, concerns, reach. Keep frying high.
I like that. Right? It's fun.
It threw in a good pun there.
You have to, here's the thing with franchisees because we're 95% franchised. So you have to keep the humor and you have to put those points out. And it's nice how they broke out the different parts to be helpful,
Yeah.
best practices to your point. And you have to keep a little humor.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I
it's
like
fun.
frying high.
Yeah, it's
that's
fun.
that's actually a decent pun.
Yeah.
So let's look at just a couple things. I was gonna go click through these, but let's do the informal thing. I'm finding it really good for drafting emails, memos, board reviews, business plans, presentations. Drafting, outlining, it's so helpful. I'm really finding that to be super helpful. I think, let me, someone's on the RSA pre-show call. Jen is messaging from this room. This was my talk track. Story, okay, the story is writing takes time and you don't have it. This is what Bob was talking about.
Yeah.
I think of myself as a skilled writer, but even a well-worded email takes me maybe 12 minutes to write. Dropping it in ChatGPT and then editing it takes me half the time. My focus blocks just became that much more focused because if I have to sit down and write, I need to clear 2 hours. I'm one of those in the zone writers. I can't work on a piece of writing in between phone calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I put these focus blocks on my calendar. Well, now I can bang out 4 tasks instead of 1 in a focus block. And you can also train it to learn your voice and tone. I don't know if anybody knows that, but you can say, here's 3 emails I've written recently to my franchisees. Write this email about the chicken in the style of the way I write emails, and it can totally pick that up for you. And
Algorithm, right?
yeah, it understands what your style is. Much like you could say, because if you said write this, someone said something about as a rap. If you said write this in the style of Snoop
What have you
Dogg
done?
versus write this in the style of Nas, it knows the difference between those 2 rappers and how they write. And you can do it the same. It knows the difference between the way I write emails and the way Teresa writes emails. Okay, so that's something else. It's feeding ChatGPT information is a good thing. This state of the industry report that NRA, why does it keep doing that? Sheesh. This state of the industry report that NRA put out, I printed it to show you. I actually read through this with a Sharpie because I was looking for some stats to use for this presentation, such as labor costs are at 98%. Oh, I actually have one at the end. But you can print this out, okay? But what you could also do instead is go to ChatGPT. Let's start a new chat. And then you click this little paperclip. And this is the report. So you can attach this report and say, what's someone's position here? Anybody? Tell me what job you do. A franchisee of what? What kind of concept? What kind?
Del Taco.
Del Taco.
Yep.
You're a franchisee of a national taco concept. What are 5 key takeaways
That applies
from
applicable
this
to my business.
presentation that are applicable to your business? So it'll understand, what do, I didn't tell it Del Taco, and I'll talk about why in a minute. But Ron's having the same issue. Also in this room. So these people are in this room. This is my real work life. I'm trying to write, and people who are supposed to be listening to me are instead talking on a Teams chat.
Well,
I
they're
love it.
multitasking.
Yeah.
Come on, we all have to multitask, right?
Reply quickly, though.
This is my struggle. And then, yeah, next thing be like, geez, this thing's
Do you feel
so
like you're not being
boring.
heard?
Yeah, I just feel like they're just disengaged. So, so it says based on the 2024, so it's saying embrace technology to gain a competitive advantage. Well, congratulations, you're doing that by sitting in this room. Oh, it's too lengthy, sorry. Develop and enhance loyalty programs, off-premise dining expansion, workforce management. So these things might apply to you, right? I don't know if it's calling out taco trends specifically, but I wonder if you said fine dining, if it might have pulled up some other things.
Yeah, more service maybe if you
yeah.
put fine dining in.
That kind of thing. The menu development is a good one. I think someone mentioned that. This was just an example post. We could try one for one of your actual concepts, somebody in here if you want. But you can imagine what this is going to turn. You're a chief operating officer for the international chicken franchise. Suggest 4 new menu items that would appeal to Gen Z customers. And then just for specificity, for the hell of it, each suggestion should contain our signature chicken patty, and 2 of them should contain pickles. Suggest a retail price for each menu item. For the sake of time, maybe we'll skip that. But you can imagine where this goes.
You could plug your menu in the same thing that you did earlier.
Put your menu in.
Yep,
Yes.
and say I need different items.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, not repetitive, that
Right.
are kind of aligned with this price point and style.
Totally, yeah.
That's how I would do it.
And that use similar ingredients even, or we want to reuse ingredients.
Right.
Or you could upload your menu and say, suggest 2 menu items that would follow the Korean trend that they were identifying in the Technomic presentation earlier. So, you know, additional use cases, things like analyzing supply chain data. You could take some supply chain data that you have about your own concept or some report that you read, upload it, and have the analysis come back. You know, summarize, it's similar to summarizing 2 long emails or summarizing, 50-page reports. You know, ask it to come up with an inventory and replenishment scheme. It can understand that. You can summarize like a customer feedback from a survey. You can compare 2 contracts. You can prepare sales reports for a QBR with your board. Create training modules. I have to say, I will never write another job description from scratch.
I am right there with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been hiring, and ChatGPT helped me so much with that. I used to go to Google, and right now I'm hiring an internal communications manager. So what I used to do is I would go to Google, I'd find a template, and then I might go to Indeed and I'd look at like 3 or 4 jobs that were up, and then look at them all, maybe copy and paste ones that I liked, and then start to write in Word on the side on the other screen while I was copying and pasting things over, whatever. I went to ChatGPT and I basically just talked to it and said you're writing an internal comms description. By the way, you can say for your company if you want.
Right.
And it should include, this person's going to be responsible for doing this task, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And it'll just write the job description and put it in the format and craft all the language around it. And then it was I'm never going to write another one of those things.
Andy,
Yes.
can you read Excel spreadsheets?
Yes, it can read spreadsheets. It can do,
That was a PDF you sent.
that was a PDF. Yeah.
You can attach any files, right?
You can attach any files you want. It can read spreadsheets. It can read code. It can do highly complex mathematical equations. It can.
Can it read an RFP?
It can read an RFP for sure. Yeah. But you do want to just be careful. So my one word of warning is it's not quite clear yet if you use ChatGPT what OpenAI is doing with the information that you give it. So the biggest area of security that I would warn is to try to strip anything that you think is sensitive language, because you don't know OpenAI could get hacked. You don't know how that information might get used later on. So if you don't want someone else to ever have access to it, I would strip any sensitive information off of it. A lot of people encourage you to not use your real operation name, not use your real name. I do it sometimes. But
companies have policies as well. So
Yeah.
one that I worked for previously, we had a conversation with our exec team that we weren't allowed to put our brand names in, or our names, or sensitive information. So
Yeah.
we had to sign that agreement. My current job doesn't have that in practice, but it is something I am very aware of.
Do you have that with your company?
We do.
Okay.
Sensitive information, I wouldn't put it in there. It's in the public.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can go Google sometimes we'll go Google competitive companies, and I can pull data that maybe they put up there for
Right.
evaluation. So I would stay clear of doing that.
Yeah, agreed. Was there a question in the back? No. Was that what you were going to say about security? Or yeah, okay. So I'm going to go to like my big wrap up, and but then maybe we can keep playing with it if we have a little time or whatever. But
How many minutes do we have left?
what's that?
Are they telling you how many minutes you have left in your
No,
presentation?
I'm just looking at my watch.
Okay.
I don't know. Why are they? Oh no, that's just a clock I'm running. I don't know. What time is it? Yeah, we should wrap it up. I don't know. Okay. In that report, 76% of operators say they're using technology gives them a competitive edge, but only 13% think that they're on the leading edge, and 23% think that their operation is lagging. So basically, it says everyone recognizes that technology is going to help them, but most people think that they're not on the leading edge of using this technology. You all, we can do a group pledge if we need to, but you all can start adding optimization to your workflow today. A quick plug, I am the VP of Marketing for Buyer's Edge, and I am proud to work for a company that is on the leading edge of how technology is being used. We're using AI all throughout our technology products that many of you in this room use to do things for our operator clients, like matching products together, finding switch and save opportunities. There's now a chatbot that Buyer's Edge platform customers can use to ask questions about their own purchases. And then our sales teams use it to like predict the next best action in the sales cycle. You should pitch them on produce. Based on this data, you should pitch them on our supply chain management companies, our supply chain management services. And certainly using it in an amazing way in marketing, both in content generation and I think something that's even more transformative that I want to share with you. Quick story, I remember talking to my mom about the way email has changed the working world. And she said, Andy, I worked before fax. You cannot believe the degree to which fax sped up the way work was done. Her first job out of college, she worked for a printing company. So they used to print a business card and then mail it to the person to proofread, and then they would call them or something, or come down to the shop to like fix the typo. She said all of a sudden we could fax the business card to the person who ordered it, and it was an absolutely incredible thing. That's actually a picture of my mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Just kidding, it's a stock image.
Sentimental, right?
So,
Does she know that you put her
Yeah.
picture up?
So the same way we kind of all got used to saying like, hey Siri, play this Rihanna song or whatever it is, I predict that we're gonna change the way we talk in meetings because it's going to affect how AI interacts with us. And a really interesting example of that is there's this like programming whiz type guy on my marketing team who understands way more about technology than I do. And what he did was he built an API, so we have a conversational listener on all of his team's chats. He built an API that sends so he coded this himself. It sends the transcriptions of his team's chats to ChatGPT. Then he trained ChatGPT to analyze it to find action items. Then he built an API that automatically sends those action items to Asana, which is the project management tool that we use. And then it automatically assigns those tasks and projects to individuals. I'll give you an example. If he's sitting on a call, he'll say on that call, so Liz, an action item for you is to follow back up with Bob on Friday about the training plan. And he's saying that intentionally because he knows that ChatGPT is going to pick that up and automatically create a task in Asana. Now Liz has a task when she opens her Asana that connecting with Bob is a task that's due for her on Friday.
That's great.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And that may seem like that's only mildly far-fetched because this guy's like living in the future.
Right.
But not that far in the future, because I'm sure there's some app out there that's going to call you and try to sell you it, tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah.
This is focused on ChatGPT, whether you're looking at Gemini or Bing, Copilot, or anything else.
Yeah. Good question. I am using the Gemini's the Google. Yeah. Yeah, so I have that. I have the Google Gemini widget also installed on my computer. I don't know why. I've just been going to ChatGPT because I'm comfortable with it. But I think that this kind of applies to generative AI in general. Good question. Anybody else? Yeah.
Do any of you use like a daily reminder YouTube follower that's training or inspiring you guys on this? Is there like
Oh, that's a good question.
video of the day or an email of the day that you guys have?
I am not.
I'm not, no, just the young people that reported into me.
There's some good stuff on LinkedIn. There's a few guys who have like the cheat sheet. I think if you go find one of those, just search it, and most of them have a link to a YouTube. There's pretty good. There's some pretty good cheat sheets.
You're following me, at least for 45 minutes. Yeah.
If you want a newsletter, not affiliated at all,
The Neuron. The Neuron newsletter talks about how to use AI in your workday. Yeah, cool. All right, good tip. The Neuron. What I was going to say here is there's just all these people at this conference, and we have all these experts, all these leaders in the industry, but any one of the leaders here, anything that they've published, ChatGPT can now they help you with.
Yep.
So it's kind of like you get to take home all the experts from this, anything Martha Stewart's ever written is available. It's in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can use that knowledge to help answer your questions. Thanks so much for coming.
that was awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thanks.
Indeed.
I appreciate it. Yeah, see you guys. So yeah, you take the experts home with you. That I think is like a link to my LinkedIn. I'm sorry I didn't get yours up there.
That's okay.
But we can maybe try to share that with people. They can look you up on LinkedIn. Any other questions, comments, something you want to share? Going once, don't be
I
shy.
would say again, it changed my life. It really
Oh
productivity.
yeah, parting
you just
words.
said.
It changed Liz's
No.
life. Bob?
It didn't change my life, but it's helped my life. There's one thing I love to do. I love to take our brand and say, what happens if I take our brand and combine it with another company I admire?
Okay.
So like if I would take Amazon.
Okay.
And you get some really interesting things. So if you want to do some really cool things for your business or brand to give you some ideas of what's out there, go look at companies like Ritz-Carlton. I love their customer service. What happens if I made the Great Greek of the Ritz-Carlton? I think that's a really great exercise if you want to do that with your business. I probably spend the most time doing that. Second, productivity. It's a lifesaver.
I sometimes will engage in philosophical debates. Well, still, and but you can kind of it's interesting. You can sort of have a debate about a certain topic in your life, about religion, or you can really uncover some interesting points without the emotion that you might have with having it with a human.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool for that. It's just, I don't know, just because again, sometimes when I was doing that once a day thing, it was I was playing with it, not necessarily using it as a tool. But I kind of focus this on how to use it as a tool. But it's also just kind of fun to use it as a little game too. Anybody else? I hope that you had fun with us for 45 minutes. I hope that it makes you want to use ChatGPT a little bit more. If this presentation affected you in any way in the coming days, weeks, months, do find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear about it. And thank you all. Hope you enjoy the rest of your time here.
Great job.
Good job.